The simplest way to put it, I have problems.
Welcome to another episode of the Pain Management Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm the old guy in this relationship. My name's Roderick McDaniel. Some of you still call me Coach. And the guy over here to my right,
Jimmy Moynihan.
the good-looking one in the group. The supermodel.
Slightly less older.
The supermodel of our combination.
No, we're in bad shape if I'm the supermodel.
Yeah, hey, look, man. Look, one of us has to be. I'm not going to be the good-looking one. And then also, we got a special guest today. I love this guest. I can honestly say that I love this guest. It is my friend, Meagan Koenning. And Meagan, you're now what is the title? Is it non-residential counselor?
Yes, non-residential counselor, but I'm pre-licensed. So I am doing the paperwork.
To become licensed in the state of Texas.
Yes, LPC associate.
Oh.
Yes. And then from there, I'll be a full LPC after I get all my hours. So.
Okay. That's dope, man. I got the title right. All right. And it's a weird story. I might as well tell it because I've known Meagan since you were 16 or 17?
17.
17 years old?
Yeah.
So, here's how my universe works. Meagan came into a GameStop I was managing at the time with her family, and they were looking for games. And her dad was trying to pawn her off on me. He wanted her to get a job and get her out the house. And I love him for his whole campaign to get her a job. But then Meagan goes over to the wall while everybody's shopping, and I heard her take care of a customer. And she was so smooth with it, and she answered their questions, never told them she didn't work there. And I was like, oh, she's hired. I just got to make it official. So when she came back to the register, I gave her, let's fill that out, and I'll get you on the schedule. And then she got stuck with me. And then the rest of the story goes that there was my assistant manager, this guy named Koenning. Yeah. He thought she was hot. Okay. And Cody was young, too. I don't want you to think this was an older dude trying to kidnap some 17-year-old girl. He was a young dude, too. But he met her at the store, but he, for lack of a better term, he is a very respectful nerd. Okay? He's super respectful. He's not going to disrespect you. Right. And he was like, oh, I don't want to cross that boundary, and I'm her assistant manager, blah, blah. I can't ask her out. So he got on my nerves, and I thought they were a cute couple. So I would make him work every Sunday so I could watch football. And then I made her work every Sunday with him. Bam. And if y'all need me to help y'all meet your crush, just putting that out there. That's one of my jobs. I sometimes play Cupid in my free time. But then I made those guys work together all these hours. And now they're married. And
that's
sure
crazy.
Are.
Yeah.
Sure
What anniversary is it this year?
Oh, we just celebrated 6 years, and we'll be together 10 years in November.
That's amazing.
I know.
All thanks to Roderick.
You didn't know I was a coach, but I'm the coach of love. All right. That's my new side hustle. I may actually get a big diaper and come up in here with a bow and arrow one day. Just for people to arrest me. They'll be like, oh, he finally snapped doing that mental health podcast.
I wonder how many people have gotten together at a GameStop. It can't be too many.
You know what? Didn't y'all have a wedding at that GameStop one time?
No, when I say I'm the coach of love, I really there was a wedding in my store. I did a wedding at the one in Plainview, Texas. And that was cool because when they marched out, all the employees held up a PS Vita like this. And they walked under like we were in this little thing where we were all on each side. And they walked under the Vita bridge.
That is the nerdiest thing I've ever heard.
It is, dude. When I was at that store, there was nothing too crazy for me. We did a concert there. We brought in a metal band to play one time. We did a tournament. I think it was Madden. May have been the NCAA back in the day.
Oh, nice.
But we did the tournament and had the band there. And this one lady, she won the whole thing, man. She beat down every dude. Nice. She was so good, man. And dudes were mad. Oh, I don't want to have to play this girl and embarrass her in the first round. And she beat that dude by 28 points. It was nasty. She was nasty work with that controller. And I was like, Well, I don't have to push
Yeah.
women's rights in here anymore.
Nope.
She's
Equal
handing out
rights
rights
at
and lefts. she was nasty with it. All right. But yeah, when I'm not playing video games and being a nerd, sometimes I just, I look at two people and go, they should be together.
Play matchmaker.
I just make it work, man.
Well, you married us too. He
I
married
did.
us.
I officiated
So cool.
the wedding.
You sure did.
Not at
You
a
know
game.
what's weird about that? I've officiated 3 weddings out of people that worked at GameStop.
Damn.
Because I did Chris Bowles' wedding to his wife, Georgia, too.
That's right, you did.
I did that.
And they met at GameStop.
No, I think he met her after GameStop. I just kept him alive long enough to meet her. Chris was a hot mess when I met her. He was like one of those guys that you're like, he's going to end up on a terrorist watch list.
Right.
But he's so much fun to be around. But he is a total terrorist. Okay. And so it was one of those things where it's like, I got to get him to stay alive long enough to meet a wife.
Right.
Yeah, that was
first
what I did.
things first, yeah.
Let me get you to stay alive, and then we'll work on a wife.
Yeah.
And also, Chris, if you're wondering, I still remember to say the guns in the sandbox in a plastic bag. I still remember that weird saying. Yeah.
What's that? What's the story behind
That's how big of a terrorist he was. Like, we would always joke about him like that. And one of our buddies would be like, he's the kind of kid that goes to a school that goes, there's a gun in the sandbox. It's in a plastic bag. He was a terrorist, dude. Every time he just say, like, when you have those intrusive thoughts.
Oh, yeah. He
didn't know to keep them quiet.
Yeah.
He'd just say them out loud, and we'd be
But that's what friends are for. Good friends. You can say them.
We were all his good friends. We're the reason he's not arrested. But anytime there's a crazy crime, I have called him 3 times and be like, hey, where were you at last night? I never tell him why I'm calling. Just want to check on you and your wife. We were at home last night. We were bored. We watched this stupid movie, and I'll be like, oh, good. That's a good thing for you to have done.
It's a good alibi.
I'm glad there was a witness.
Yes.
You're going to need it in a couple days. All right. So, talking about our crazy life up there. If you've never been to Amarillo.
No, don't.
No?
We can tell you stories about.
So that's where you guys were?
Yeah, we were all up there. Man, the Panhandle's a wild place.
It really is. Panhandle behavior.
Have you ever seen Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's pioneer people on crystal meth.
Oh, wow.
That's how I describe Amarillo all around the country
picture.
as pioneer people on crystal meth. They were
wild.
a very wild group of
Productive,
people.
Though.
You know what? No chores have not been done. They are all like, we're going to just do our chores now. Go do them. Okay. Yeah. Loved it, man. Some of us escaped. We escaped.
Good. Success story.
And then now she's in Buda, being all successful. Just had your graduations.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
How did you choose this career path?
Oh, gosh. So right after I met you, kind of had a thing for Mr. Cody, and we kind of I stopped working there when I was 19, and it didn't really work out. He was like, I'm not ready for something. And I was like, please love me. And he's like, no, not right now. So then,
I'm so mad.
Well, my friend set me up with someone, blind date, and it went bad real quick. Before I knew it, I was living in this dude's house, or not in his house, but living with him in some back room. And I was 19, just a baby. He was kind of love bombing me hella bad. And then before I knew it, I was pregnant and being mentally and emotionally and financially and all of the above abused. Never put his hands on me. But yeah, it was rough. That was about 3 years of that, and had my son, connected with Cody actually at a comedy show of yours.
Yeah.
Good job. And he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I am super not okay. We all had common friends, and he was kind of like, they've been telling me that you're not doing well, and he's really mean to you. And I was like, yeah, not doing great. Ended up that we were we want to be together, we're in love. And he was very respectful. Like you said, he was like, I will wait for you, get safe, get out. I'll help you do what you need to do. And I just left in the middle of the night with my kid. Never looked back. We do share custody, we're adults and, doing the thing. But, so, I got out of that. I had nothing. I was living in the back of my parents' house in some little garage with my kid. I was newly 21. All I had was this job at Pizza Hut. I didn't have a vehicle, nothing. So I was building myself from the ground up, and I was man, I I really need to do something with my life. Like, I don't want to do this. I really need to do something for my son. I need to do something better. So I was talking to Cody and I was like, what, I want to go back to college. Like, what should I do? And I like remember this clear as day. We were sitting in his little living room and he was like, you would be a great therapist. And it was just like, blah. I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I would be a great therapist. And then I enrolled, this was 2015. I enrolled in Amarillo Community College, just a little community college there. Was a little psychology major, and literally I have been going full steam ahead since 2015. Got my little associates, moved on to West Texas A&M, got my bachelor's in psychology. This was during COVID, so I like graduated on a Tuesday randomly on my couch during COVID. I was like, all right. And first gen graduate, so like I had no idea what I was doing, but I was just like, I'm gonna do this. So I was the first person to graduate in my family. And then I knew I wanted to come here for school. So I applied to Texas State University in San Marcos to their professional counseling program, got in. That is a 3-year grad program, which is bonkers, but I'm so glad I went. It's one of the best programs in the country, really, to be a counselor. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Just full steamed ahead with that. And literally my body's still like, you have things to do. And I'm like, girl, nah, you graduated. Like, calm it down. Yeah. So, I graduated August 3rd with my master's in professional counseling. So that's, and I kind of knew that I wanted to go the route that I did, the population that I am with now because of my experience with intimate partner violence. So, yeah, my little like specialty area is domestic violence, intimate partner violence. I am interested in the whole spectrum, so I'm interested in survivors and perpetrators. I really love the like intersection between gender and gender norms and PTSD and intimate partner violence and all that kind of little mix there. So that's the
fascinating.
Story. Yeah.
You're one of the reasons you're on my resume for why I call myself a midwife, because you were pregnant at my show one time.
I sure was.
And I made her laugh so hard we thought the baby was coming out.
For real. We took a picture and you were like, she's smiling because it's not mine.
I still have that picture. I kept that.
That's a great picture. It's beautiful.
But that was the first time I was like, wow. I made a woman laugh so hard doing a show that the baby went to kicking her like crazy.
Seriously, it was bad.
Yeah, but Reba actually gave birth the next day after the show. She went into labor. She basically was like, at one point, she was on the front row. She said, you got to stop. And I went, what's the matter? She went, the baby won't quit kicking and I can't quit laughing. And so I get a call 2:00 in the morning. Her husband Ian called me and told me, she's in labor, butthead. The baby's on the way out. I said, he wants to see who made mama laugh like that.
I need this man.
He knows who his real uncle is. Holla.
Wow.
He's got a 2-year, his 2-year birthday is coming up and I'm about to go to that, man. I go hang out with this little 2-year-old every now and then. Just like, hey man, I'm a black guy that's going to be around for a while. Get to know me.
Wow.
I'm at this birthday party. Also, if you're friends with him, and you're a single lady, holla at your boy. Okay. Love doctors in the house. Okay. So, all right. So, Meagan, you did all this craziness. You went through that program. Mm-hmm. You're now working like with your client base. But I know one time you called me and you were like, hey, how would I approach an older black man if we're going to do counseling? And I was like, I've never felt more qualified to answer this question. Especially as a older black man who's gone through mental health counseling and threw myself into really trying to better myself. Yeah. That is a hard community to penetrate, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So I currently, I did my internship through school at a place called Hayes Caldwell Women's Center. Mm-hmm. We call it HCWC now because we see everybody, men, women, children. Mm-hmm. We have a shelter on site. We serve people in Hayes and Caldwell County who have experienced domestic abuse, sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse, family violence, stalking, that kind of stuff.
Right.
We're nonprofit, so we get grants. So all of our services are free for those who qualify. And I was, my grant says that I can see anybody that comes in. I see adults. So I had a guy that was on the wait list that was assigned to me. And I kind of read a little bit about what he was going through, what was going on. And in our grad program, they're very, very, I wouldn't say strict, but they want us to understand like cultural sensitivity, how to approach someone who's of a different culture from you. And I am very big on like broaching the subject, like straight off the bat. Like, look, I am a white woman, like kind of privileged, you know, I've had my hard times, but like I got the white privilege backpack on, and you are like, number one, a male coming in who's been, you know, in domestic violence, which that's so underreported.
Very.
Good for you, number one. Number two, older black male. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do? Is he going to look at me and be like, no, ma'am, you know?
Mhm.
So I was like, who do I know? Rod.
Yeah.
So I literally called you as like in my little office, and I was just like, what would you suggest? Like, just, you know, hit me straight with it. And you like built my confidence up for sure,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah. And
What did
I
you
still see
say?
him. He's great.
Man, basically, I say just don't dodge it. Like, our problem in the
Right.
Black community is that a lot of times we're not allowed to be sensitive
Mm-hmm.
because that's seen as weakness,
Mhm.
especially when it comes
Right.
to mental health issues.
Right.
So I was just like, to me, if somebody were coming to me, be as real as possible with me.
Yeah.
We both know what the situation is.
Mhm.
Once we sit here and you're sitting there, we know what the situation is.
Yeah.
So don't skirt around it. Just let's say it. Let's put it out there. Let's open up with that, and then let's find the common ground. Let's
Yeah.
talk about how we heal, and let's find out. Get them talking.
Yes.
90% of the time, you get them with dudes. If I
Yeah.
get you talking, all I got to do is sit back,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
talk.
Oh, that's good advice.
Get them talking.
Get them talking,
They'll
yeah.
tell you where to take them
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I take it worked out.
Yeah. He's still on my caseload. So counselors, we can be of different theories and backgrounds, right? You have like social workers. I'm going to be an LPC. LPCs, we kind of view counseling through a lens of a theory
Mhm.
that kind of directs us towards human development, kind of helps us in the room. So sometimes you hear like person-centered, someone's a person-centered counselor. Some people do like cognitive behavioral, CBT therapy, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Mine's called relational cultural, which basically just states that like humans grow and change, whether it's harmful or, you know, helpful through relationships. And it started from the feminist movement in the 70s and kind of just like rolled down. And as the years went by, just kind of states that relationships are what heal us and what can hurt us too. So this means that I can be really creative in the room. I can talk about culture. I can talk about society. I can talk about the patriarchy and feminism and all of this. And so I feel like I'm in a really, really good position when I have culturally diverse clients to be like, I am so willing to do whatever you need in this room. The big thing about relational cultural is that we kind of try to break down power dynamics. Therapy, to begin with, is kind of a power dynamic, right? You have someone that has all these degrees looking at you being like, you need my help, which is not what I ever want in the room. I want it to be like egalitarian. Like, I'm a human being, you're a human being. We're going to work alongside each other. We're going to be here together doing this. And I think that really disarms people.
Yeah, that
And
was
so-
my doc.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Too.
Yeah. So I think that really helps everybody, period. But I think for this client in particular, he felt seen, I think, that I was just full on willing to be like, well, first of all, like, I'm a white woman. Let's talk about it. You know, and he was like, oh, no problem. And I was like, okay, cool.
Oh.
Then like, let's
Damn.
you know? Yeah. I was
Easy.
just like, okay, cool. He's like, no problem. No worries.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, because we
Okay.
were like, hey, at least
Yeah.
you broached it.
Yeah.
Bring it up and see where we are with this.
Yeah.
So do you feel that dynamic sometimes where people are hesitant to open up to you
Oh,
because of that, or because of like, oh, this is a therapist, she has to listen to me?
I get both.
Yeah.
I get some people that will talk to me and they'll say, well, you know, that's not going to be like what it's out like in the real world because you have to sit and listen to me. And I'm like,
Right.
actually,
right.
actually. But then I do get people that will be worried that I'm going to be disappointed in them.
Right. Yeah.
Or they're going to be worried that because they didn't show up for a session that like I'm going to be mad or that I'm going to see them as not working hard. And I do have to tell clients sometimes like you literally can do nothing to disappoint me. Like this is about you.
Right.
You can do no wrong. I can do wrong in the room. I can absolutely do wrong in the room. You cannot.
Yeah.
And so I try to let them know that if you ever feel like you're afraid to tell me something or you're afraid to talk about something with me, please tell me, because I'm not going to tell you like, get over it. I'm going to be like, let's fix this. Let's work on this.
Yeah.
I did have a client that straight up told me like, I don't trust you to not do something that we had talked about. And I was like, that's okay. I won't, but that's okay. You don't have to trust me,
I've had problems being honest with therapists, which is crazy because it's like the one person I should be honest with. And I just have so much shame about like, I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic, and I was always shameful about my addiction. So I would lie to my therapist about being clean and sober, and I wasn't.
Because you don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah, I didn't want to disappoint my therapist. And it was just like, that was like the crux of a lot of my problems. And I wasn't, so it was like so much, I felt like I wasted so much opportunity to be able to open up. But it was, it was what you said. It was I don't want to disappoint. Don't want to disappoint you.
That's such a good point. I think men too, oh God, it's one of my favorite subjects. I love counseling men. I wish I could counsel men more. Just statistically, women we see are, domestically abused more often. It's underreported, so I'm sure that there are more, but we don't know. But I think the way in which we socialize young men is despicable. We don't teach them that they are human, that they can have emotions, that they can love just like everybody else, that they can have male friendships, and that it's not, it's not gay. They can show love to each other. It's just all of these different ways in which we like silence men. The patriarchy is bad for everybody. So I'm sure that you probably felt like you're not allowed to show your emotions. You're not allowed to like feel the shame,
For sure. Yeah, I was literally called gay if I said something that, something vulnerable to my friends.
Yeah. And we were like, men don't, you can't show emotions except anger. That's the only one you can show, right? But then we're like, why are you so angry all the time?
Right.
How like you need to be nicer to me. Like stop being angry. But then it's like, oh, how dare you show me your emotions? You're so sensitive.
Yeah.
Like it's just so like counterintuitive.
Yeah, it seemed like sometimes anger was the only acceptable emotion that wasn't criticized or wasn't like looked down upon, which is crazy because anger is one of the most toxic emotions to express outwardly and inwardly to,
And it just really hides the other emotions. Like anger is like a secondary emotion, right? It's going to hide your frustration and your fear and all that. And I like to think that emotions aren't like positive or negative. They just are like, they're a tool, So I always try to be like, it's okay to be angry. Like it's not bad or it's not good. It's just an emotion. Like, and you're allowed to feel your emotions,
Right.
And if you've been on social media since 2016, you've been angry more than you should be. Yeah. But let's be real, man. That's
100%.
That social media is. I got rid of Facebook, and we both
smart.
got rid of it at the same time.
It's terrible. I stopped using it too. I mean, I would get into these insane arguments in comment threads with people and people that I like ruin relationships of
and I don't even know some of the people that I'm fighting with.
Well, yes, that too.
And the thing was, we both got rid of it because she said something to me one time about, hey, it really will play a game on you in your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm getting rid of it. And then I got a promoter that was booking me, and they were like, you got to get your Facebook back. And I was like, I don't want it back. And they were like, but you got to put the posters up, and we got to communicate with you through Messenger.
Yeah.
And so I started it back up after I'd burned the whole thing.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what? Comedy. It's just going to be flyers and posters. I'm not even putting clips on here. I don't want to deal with people. And to this day, I look at my Facebook, and it has barely any following. But it's the most relaxing place for me because I basically curated my feed.
Yeah.
Good.
I literally am so active on there. If I see something and I don't like a post, I'm like, do not show again. I'm very active on Facebook
That's
about
good. Yeah.
I don't want to see this political ignorance. I'm going to post memes
Yeah.
that are funny. And if you get mad at a meme, you should be in counseling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're protecting your peace. You're like cultivating that.
I
That's
am.
good.
The
Yeah.
feed there is so much better. Now, my YouTube feed, that's just nerd central. It's like,
Good.
you ever wanted to build a pool in your backyard with Vietnamese people? I can tell you how.
Hell
That's
yeah.
what my YouTube algorithm shows me.
Yeah.
Oh, so wholesome.
I've curated my feed
Sounds like
everywhere.
fun.
Except Instagram. That's the wild, wild west. Instagram is like,
Yeah. Instagram is, well, just for me, Instagram makes me feel vulnerable. It makes me feel less than. It makes me feel jealous. There's very few good emotions that arise from me being on Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram is so weird too, because my thing is like, it's mostly my friends from the anime world. So it's a lot of anime memes and cosplay girls making their booty cheeks clap.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'll post a meme in there, and then somebody's like, "You liberal cuck." I went, "I wish I was a cuck. I'd be getting some action.
Right, yeah.
At least seeing some people get some
Right.
action."
I
Which is
think mine is
pretty good.
just
I'm in the room with them. I can get them drinks.
You're
Oh,
right in the
I
arena.
just
Yeah.
want to be on the tee.
God.
But yeah, no, I'm not. Dude, Instagram's it's a wasteland.
Wild West.
It's somewhat curated, and mostly it's, hey, here's my
Algorithm.
comedy. Yeah, but
yeah.
every now and then I'll post one meme, and Instagram will put it like I'm the tool that they are using to infuriate so many white men. Right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have a lot of you as friends. I don't even know why you're mad at me. I barely. I have political opinions, and like a smart person, I don't share them. That's why my album was called "Mind Your Business," you bunch of idiots. Quit worried about how I vote, man. Worried about what your wife thinks about me. That's what you should worry about.
Yeah.
Does your wife think I'm handsome? I'm about to be a family member. Shut up.
I'll put your wife into labor.
Keep playing with me. That kid will
Yeah.
come out a month
Let's
early.
go.
I ain't scared.
I'll give you a preemie.
Yeah, now you're stuck for 18 years. That preemie baby, I laughed out of her. Okay.
Yeah. That's
I
such a
might
good
start
time.
using my comedy for evil. That's what I'm gonna do. Jimmy gave me a new idea.
Yeah.
Why
Not bad, right?
Why am I out here doing this? Now here's one of the things, and I told you before the show, this is in the comedy community. We have a huge problem.
Yeah.
With most of us are sad clowns. Okay, just be honest.
A lot of people in the entertainment industry are.
Yeah, sad
Yeah.
clowns. We're here to entertain you, and we feed off of the energy you give us back
Yeah.
when you like it. The problem that I have had in 22 years of doing stand-up is I've buried a lot of sad clowns.
Yeah.
We have a very high, we don't talk about it enough rate of suicide in this community. And it's this club, my home club, Creek and the Cave, we've been touched by this issue in the last year.
Wow.
So part of why I wanted to do this kind of a podcast, and I think same for Jimmy, we both had our own struggles with mental health.
Yeah.
And we've lost somebody close to us. I've lost more in the last year than I care to remember. But how do we, I think we both know, we can look at somebody and go, they're on the edge. They're in the darkest of dark places. How do we approach that person?
Yeah. Oh, God, that's such a good question. First of all, I was surprised to learn that you told me before the show.
Yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people who are sad want to make other people happy.
Yeah.
You know, I would say number one, don't be afraid to talk about suicide. Saying the word, talking about it with someone is not going to make them more likely to die by suicide. Stats show. So if you feel like someone is not doing well, you can say the word, you know. I think too, the way in which you approach them is really important. Nobody wants to be bombarded. Nobody wants to feel like they're being looked at or watched over or anything like that. So just to are you okay? How are you? You know, for men especially, I think it's important to take the risk and just be like, I'm here for you. I guarantee you a good handful of your male friends have never heard that before. Hey, I'm here for you. You know?
Yeah, I can agree to that. I know they haven't, because I say I had a buddy tell me one time that I told him, "Hey man, I love you and I'm rooting for you." And he said, "You're the only person that's told me you love me." And I was like, "What?" Like it had been a while, and I didn't think about, we don't say that to each other enough, man.
Yeah.
So after he told me that, I started telling all my boys that, like, I love you. And then they'd be like, "No, Diddy." I'll be like, "All Diddy. I love you, bro." I will hug you right there if you need it, bro. I love you. So I'm just that dude now, but it was because of him that I had to kind of, I guess we don't hear, like, it's, it's like that meme. If I get a compliment from a woman, I can remember the date, the time, and what outfit I was wearing when she gives me that compliment.
Yeah, it sticks with you.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, the "I love you." I mean, I need to hear it sometimes. I need to hear it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's so I say, if you feel, first of all, if you love someone and feel love for someone, you should tell them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And second of all, you never know who needs to hear it, especially in this community.
Yeah.
All the time.
I was talking about it. I started opening up more about my mental health to other people. And then in turn, people have opened up to me about theirs. And so on the other end of, you can kind of see sometimes, other times I've been super surprised about people that have said that they're struggling really hard.
Yes.
Because you would never think it, the way they're peppy and even smiling all the time.
Yeah, they're usually the helpers too, right? Like, who helps the helpers?
Right.
Nobody thinks about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you just would have no idea that they're struggling at all. No, not even a clue.
I think you touched on a really important point that it is huge for me in my personal life, but in the counseling room as well, that once you were reaching out to people, they'd reach back out to you. And then, we are wired for connection. Our brains are wired for connection.
Yeah.
The area that lights up when we're in physical pain is the same area that lights up when we are feeling lonely and we're feeling like we don't have anyone. Yes. So there's a lot of research to suggest that the more you connect with somebody, the more you want to connect with others, and they want to connect with others. Like, we will wither and die without connection. We are social creatures.
Yeah.
And for men to not have the room to do that, for men to feel like they have to suffer through this alone when they're literally human beings too, like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just like little interactions. I went through long periods of depression, and what I do is I isolate.
Yep.
So when I'm really depressed, I isolate. And I remember when I was able to push myself just to get out of the house for like a little bit, I'd have like maybe literally like a 45-second interaction with a neighbor, just a back and forth. Yeah. And that would just light up a little bit of me. Just that little back and forth about the weather. Yeah. Just that small amount of connection.
Yeah, your brain's like, what?
Yeah.
I love
my God. Yeah.
Sends out those endorphins.
I've never just finished a weather conversation.
Yeah.
Never. As a dude, the older you get, the more somebody can approach you about weather.
Yeah.
I swear to God. You just think, benign conversation. The older you get, somebody comes about, hot spell we're having. Yeah, it is.
I'm getting into it. I love it. Yeah.
You start, your brain is wired for that, bro.
I'm ready for it. And so that little bit of connection, it really is all I want. And it's funny because it's I'll isolate even more when I'm depressed. But like, what I tell myself when I'm feeling depressed is like, okay, I'm depressed. Why not be depressed around my friends? I can still be depressed. Let me just be around my friends. Yeah. And obviously it helps. And a lot of the times I'll just feel better just being out, distracted, not stuck in my thoughts, not, it just helps.
Step is getting out the house.
Yes.
Bro.
That's the hardest part. Because I'll
yeah.
tell myself a million things to keep myself inside and keep myself isolated and keep myself, feeling bad.
You think I watched all those Hallmark Christmas movies because I was feeling good?
Right, yeah.
I was in the house.
You're like, she's from the city. She's getting married.
I'm in the house under a heavy blanket going, come on, Caroline, fight for love. That's why I'm like this.
Think about your career.
For a reason.
You're a self-made woman. Don't fall for Chris.
Why is he making all those toys for the kids in the town shirtless?
Yeah.
That's against OSHA regulations. What are we doing right now?
We overlook that.
That's my favorite part of the movie. Is like, I'm not gay, but that dude is ripped.
Yeah.
Making toys can
Man,
make you
yeah,
ripped.
those guys are just fucking hot.
Dude, for no reason.
Yeah.
Hallmark has a look. They have a patented look, and I'm just, you know what one of my friends said to me, and it made me feel good and hurt my feelings at the same time. She said, every time I watch one of those Hallmark Christmas movies and I see the black guy in there, I always go, Roderick could play the coach for the basketball team in this town.
really
Or Roderick
could.
could be the pastor for this team in this town. And I always
You
go,
really could.
wait a minute, hold on. And then one time I saw one in the black pastor and
Right.
this guy's white mom were
Yeah.
actually very friendly.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they
Oh.
were going to go on this cruise
Be
together as
something,
friends.
yeah.
And I was like, maybe there is a role for me.
Yeah. Dude, I would audition.
Bruh,
if you have
I
any
need,
interest.
I don't know what I need to do, man, but
Yeah.
if I could land a Hallmark movie
Yeah.
gig, I would take it.
Yeah, I could see that white collar around you, giving
Oh,
advice
bro,
to
just giving advice to the kids at Christmas
follow
time.
your heart. Yeah.
Well, you know, our Lord followed his heart, and maybe
Mhm.
you should too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Jimmy. And then they find love.
yeah.
And I go, it's a Christmas miracle. Lacey Shepard, if you see this, please help a brother out.
yeah.
Help me out.
Yeah.
All right. There was something you touched on, especially when you talk about relationships. And I know we got to get this in here. In our business, we have the unhappy clowns. How do they, if they don't have the finances, because a lot of them are broke. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. They're broke.
Yeah.
They're struggling. I look like I have money, and that's because I do. But I'm broke. Okay. All my money is wrapped up in this house. How do you get counseling when you don't have the funds for it? How do they get the help when they need it?
Well, first, we decolonize counseling, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
I am in a wonderful position to have a whole lot of resources at HEWC. For Travis County, there are a lot of different places that you can call. I don't know if you've heard of Integral Care. I used to work there.
That's
Yeah.
where I get my mental health
Really?
services. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
All
Yes.
right.
Yeah. I used to work there before my now job. They're fantastic. They have an emergency line that you can call. Their number's right on their website.
Mhm.
Obviously, HCWC in San Marcos, that's, like I said, if you have a history of domestic violence, sexual assault, childhood sexual assault, any of that, services are free. And a lot of the times, if you go on to Psychology Today, counselors in my position that are like new LPC associates, we can't take insurance. So our rates are low, right? We want to see clients. We're getting hours. We want to like work up and get experience. And so come to us, please. You know,
Oh,
like,
I did not think of that.
yes, yeah. Our rates, well, not our, because I'm not, I don't have my LPC associate license yet, but
Yes.
their rates are usually pretty low because they can't take insurance and they still need to be able to see clients. So,
Right.
I mean, we're talking $65 a session
Wow.
or lower. Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of counselors will do pro bono, a couple pro bono hours a year. I feel like a Psychology Today wizard because I have a lot of friends that will like reach out and be like, I have no idea where to even start. Like, how do I find a counselor? How do I find a therapist?
Yeah.
Go to Psychology Today. You can literally like filter down exactly what you're looking for, specialty, how much they charge, where they are, virtual, in person. And a lot of them offer like 15-minute consultations where you can just call and try to get a good fit. Because I feel like, too, a lot of people are worried that they're just going to like hop into someone's room and like hate their therapist, which it happens, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always like, call them and just be honest about what you're looking for. And I'll let them know, like, look at what their theory is if it states and look it up, see what that means. Are they person-centered? That means they're going to like let you kind of lead. They're going to sit back and let you come up with your answers and they're going to be there to guide you. If you need more directive, find someone who's relational counsel, like relational cultural. Find someone who is more like CBT that's going to help you with like the psychoeducation. There's a lot of different things to consider, but it's worth it because if you can like pinpoint the right therapist for you, that's going to make all of the difference. And
Oh yeah.
sliding scale. Look for sliding scale. too.
Sliding scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Psychology Today. Is that an
Yes.
app or?
It's just a website.
Website, yeah.
They have a whole lot of different options. A lot of people in private practice or who are like gaining their private practice will post on there, so you can see their picture, their number, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I would also say I am not a fan of BetterHelp. So if we can help that, go to someone who is like not on BetterHelp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you? What's your qualms with BetterHelp?
So
I've never used it. or anything.
yeah, a lot of counselors believe that like help is better than no help, right?
Right.
But the way in which BetterHelp functions over the years has been shown to be kind of icky.
Yeah.
What they'll do is, I don't know if this is like proven, but I've heard a lot about counselors who are in private practice, their photos being stolen, put on the website.
Oh my god.
People being like, I want that therapist. And when they try to reach out, they're like, oh, they're booked up. We don't have any clients, but here you go. Here's some more options, which
Bait
is
and
gross and
switch.
icky, right?
Yeah.
Also, they pay their counselors horribly,
Oh,
terribly,
man.
horribly, awfully. I did have a professor who was reached out to by, don't quote me on this because I don't remember who, but it was a journalist who reached out and asked, hey, I know that your specialty is like men who are going through basically trying not to find harmful therapists if they're queer. And like you specialize in like helping them do that. And he's like, we have this lawsuit against BetterHelp right now for actually advertising that they're like not going to push anti-queer stuff, but then they push anti-queer stuff in the room. It was a whole mess. So
wow.
I would just say, and to the counselors that work at these agencies, like we need to be paid. Like that's, I don't fault them for that at all. Being an intern as a counselor is really rough. Getting started is really rough. It's the organization itself that I have a problem with.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's not good for the counselors. It's not good for the people. The person who started it has no background in like mental health, to my understanding.
really?
So yeah, I'm just like
Just a tech guy?
Yeah,
or-
I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But that's
just
a lot of things in
yeah.
America. We love monetizing
Yes.
everything.
Of
yes,
course.
yeah,
If we figure an angle out, we're going to monetize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
yeah. So I know that the lure of it being like $30 a session is like so, like, oh my god, I can afford it, but I don't feel comfortable about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I've had both in person and phone.
Yeah.
I really like in person therapy
Oh yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I want to say was like because what I hear from a lot of people when they talk about, oh, I don't like therapy
Yeah.
or I don't, it's like,
Yeah.
you will like therapy if you find the right therapist for you.
Yes.
Because like,
Yes.
because I was one of those people too. But then I found, once I find the right therapist
Yeah.
with that we sync up together,
Yeah.
there's nothing better.
I so agree with you. I
yeah.
had a therapist when I first moved here. I had to leave my therapist behind in Amarillo, and I was devastated about it because she was wonderful. Shout out to you, Kristen Hall. But I started seeing someone here, and I was in the program, and I was just not doing well mentally. I was not doing well at all when I first moved to the area, and she just was not a good fit. Like she said some things to me that I was like, girl, what? I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I don't quite feel comfortable with how I'm not getting feedback. Like I would like a little bit more direction, because I feel like I'm just like blabbing and nothing's happening. And she's like, well, I feel like that's something that you probably need to work on. And I was like,
Oh,
what
dear.
in the world? I was like, ooh, don't like that. So you're gonna, and it sucks because you don't want to tell your story over and over and over. Like, I totally get that. And that's why I really encourage people who are looking for a therapist or a counselor to call and do the 15-minute consultation to just see if you're a good fit. Just straight up be like, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm looking for in therapy. Is this something that you can do? And if they're ethical and if they're doing what they're supposed to and they're not just trying to get clients for the money, they're going to let you know, like, hey, I don't really deal with that. Or, hey, that's not quite how I do counseling, but I'm willing to, like, switch things up in the room with you to work through this with you. And
A
I
really
agree
good
with
one
you.
will even point you towards somebody. I'm not good in that
100%.
area, but a great counselor would say,
Ethically,
but I have a
yes.
friend that you need to contact about
Ethically,
this.
we're supposed to do that. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And I agree with you. I have clients that I'll just laugh with them. Like, I love to laugh in the room. We'll just giggle the whole, and I'm just like, this is so healing, like
Yeah.
for me, but for them too, right? Like
Mhm.
that is, the connection is everything. And I don't have the stat in front of me, but I feel like it was something like the relationship is like 30% of the overall therapeutic alliance or something like that. Yeah, it's really important. So
yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
I had a therapist that he would make these diagrams for me.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool. And he would just explain things.
Yeah. So the
just visually.
psychoeducation.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that.
It was that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like doodles. And I'd be like, just seeing it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh shit, I am doing that. Oh shit. Yeah, it's like, it's pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah. It's just the chemistry. And then also, yeah, sense of humor is huge.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to get down to business, but also like, if we can like the best thing for me is laughing at mistakes I'm making and things I'm doing.
Yeah.
And like when things are obvious and they're pointed out to me.
Yeah.
And it's just
having a sense of humor about it.
it's such a relief.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite jokes came out of therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
love that.
I said something, and when my therapist broke, I was like, that truly is funny.
Yeah.
This wasn't the thing where I came in, I'm gonna run this bit on you. I said something, he broke. I started laughing, he's laughing, and I went, yeah, Roderick, you are insane. That is, jot that down. I'm saving that. And I told him, you don't even know how much of my new comedy album you're a part of. And he was like, just give me credit. I was like, I got you, Doc.
Yeah.
No, but once I think it is like in so many things, you got to be matched up with the right people.
Yes.
If you're not, you're not getting everything you can get out of
Yeah.
it. I do have a friend, and she is very anti-therapy. And we've had this conversation before, and I'm not going to throw her name out there, but she's so anti-therapy, I didn't tell her we were doing this podcast.
Wow.
She has no idea that we're doing this podcast but one of the things that we were talking about it one day, and she said something, and I was telling her about my experiences.
Yeah.
And as I'm telling her about my experiences, she goes, I wish I would have had your therapist. I said, yeah, because I'm a vet. So most times, even though I have these issues where I feel things very bigly, I like it when people are just blatantly honest.
Yeah.
Come out and say what you got to say. Don't sugarcoat it. I might cry, but at least we're going to get to working on fixing the issue.
Yeah.
So let's get to that. So I very much love those people that are just like, what about this? And then they just hit me in the face with it. And I go, oh.
You're right.
I did too.
You're
Okay,
right.
cool. I love that, man.
Yeah.
But she says she feels like women don't get that.
Women don't get
She said
the hard truths.
They don't get the hard truth. She said sometimes she felt like every time she's had a therapist, they talked down to her or babied her or patronized her. But she said with men, every time I talk to a man, you guys are getting these like kicked in the groin kind of therapists that are like, yeah, I'm going to be tender with you, but I'm also going to give you some hard truths and punch you in the face with it. And I was like, we're not all getting the same kind of therapy. She was like, no.
That's a good point. I actually had a client. We were working through some stuff. She's like, I was like, what do you need in the room next time, like to go through this? She said, can you just throw things at me? And I was like, well, no. I mean, like I giggled, I was like, no, and then we had a conversation next session, and something just like hit me. She was like, I just want people to be honest with me. I just want people to like tell me if I'm doing something that's not working. And I'm like, so when you told me to throw things at you, you wanted me to like hit you with the hard shit, right? And she was like, I was like, okay. And from then on, I've been like, listen, you're right.
When you say something
Communicated
crazy,
it,
you should have a person there that goes, you're being crazy, right?
Yeah. And for counselors, we want to be like validating, and we were like, yes, what you're feeling is so true, and that's your truth. But at the same time, sometimes we have to be like challenging, right? Because you can't get growth if you're just protected all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's me. I know I am capable of being wrong. Okay. I have 3 ex-wives who have told me this. But I also like it even in friendships, relationships. I think that's one of the things about Cody and I that works so well is that I've said things and Cody will be like, oh, your old school is showing. Right. And I'll go, oh, thanks. You're right. Maybe I am stuck in an old way of doing something.
Those are the best friend, the best kind of friends for me. The ones that will call you out and not just like agree with you. I think it's you're really doing damage to a friend if you're just co-signing their bullshit.
Yeah.
You're really damaging them.
I've lost some friends behind not co-signing their.
It's better to lose a friend than just like, just go along with it.
Oh, Jimmy, I could tell you a story, bro.
Yeah.
I could tell you a story about losing a friend over there. Because I had a comic that was my dear friend. Okay.
Yeah.
And they had mental health issues. I had them. We were going through therapy together. One of my dearest friends. Still love them to this day. I was booking these shows, for the anime conventions. They were mad at me because I wasn't going to book them for this big one. I made the announcement. And they called me. I'm trying not to say a gender. They called me. And when they called, they were like, hey, I noticed you announced the show. I'm not part of it. And I was like, yeah, I've been watching you lately. And you're not doing good. You're like eating it in front of crowds. And this is going to be at least 500 people. I don't think I'd be a good friend if I put you in this situation to eat dick in front of this big of a crowd. I'm not a good friend if I do that.
You're just being real.
They got mad, told me I wasn't a friend, never to call them again. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we're doing. But I still 100% was not going to put this person up to go eat dick in front of a crowd.
Right.
I don't think I should do that. A real friend is going to tell you, hey, that new stuff you're doing, it sucks. Drop that, man.
Seriously. And hey, you're not ready for this yet.
Yeah,
it's just
you're
like,
not.
You got to tell them that.
And even if I'm off, if I'm having a bad performance, man, that's one of my things. I used to put autopilot it. I've done it so long that I can go out and autopilot a show and nobody in the audience knows it. But my friends will be like, man, that was some low effort shit. I'll be like, oh, you're just going to bust my balls? Yeah, you just wanted to check, huh? That was all you was doing? You didn't want to entertain? You just wanted to check?
I'll tell my friends that too. Be like, that was bad. Like, I could tell you were bored. I could tell you weren't having fun. It's
call me out if you see. And sometimes, here's my thing with my friends. I can tell when I've had them come off stage and I go, what's going on? And they said, what do you mean? I said, what's going on? You weren't here. What's happening? Talk to me. And I think we should be like that. My friend, and look, and I hope she sees this. And in fact, clip this. I hope you see this. I still love you. I'm still rooting for you. And I still wouldn't have booked you for those gigs. Okay. And I'm saying that with my whole chest, that I can love you and know I'm not putting you in a situation to embarrass yourself. Because she would have felt worse.
I hope they see this.
I did. They would have felt worse. Okay.
I love that. I think that is the energy that you should use for your friends that you see that are on edge. Like, I'm not going to let you do this to yourself. Like, I'm here for you. I love you. Like, and I think too, a lot of people have a misconception about suicide, that if you talk to them about it, it's going to make them feel worse. Like I said, like, saying the word is not going to make them go like, oh, you just gave me the idea. That's not how that works.
Yeah, we already had the idea. Trust me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that getting them through like the crisis time, which is like 24 hours after they've had their, their idea or their plan or whatever, that is what's going to save them. So talking to them about what's important to them in their life. What do you have to look forward to? Like, are you excited for anything? Like, who do you want to be here for? Can I stay with you for the next 24 hours and just like hang with you, Because usually when someone is in like a suicidal crisis, it's immediate. If you can get them through that immediacy, then like, and two, just knowing that if someone does decide to die by suicide, it's not your fault,
You got to talk about that because, a lot of times, man, that survivor guilt be real, boy.
Yeah.
That survivor guilt, you be like, well, what did I not do? What did I not say? And sometimes you did everything you could.
Yeah.
You just don't know what nobody's wrestling with, but
it's usually just an impulsive thing then, right? It's like
in that time.
In the time. The thought and the plan may not be.
Yeah, because we talked about it I had a whole journal. I had a death journal. I had a whole plan.
You had a whole plan.
While I'm doing shows and kicking it and hanging out, man.
That's when it gets scary when you have the plan.
I had a whole plan that I was working out and putting work into. And I had like meetings with myself. Okay, it's time to figure this out. You
Yeah.
hadn't figured out this part of your death
Yeah.
journal.
Yeah.
So I had all that, but I'm sure if one thing would have went wrong during the planning stage I was in, because I'm so meticulous about stuff like this,
Yeah.
I'm sure I would have had already went over the edge. Although I had friends that were reaching out, but that was the thing with me too, is that especially my male friends, COVID was it changed all my male relationships in a way that I didn't expect it to, because a lot of my friends did start saying, "Hey, I love you," a lot more to each other.
Yeah.
And then we started talking more about the stuff that we were struggling with. And I was like, wow, there's this weird dialogue we're all starting to have that I never thought I would get out of these dudes.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
well, hey, her husband and I are best. He's like my son.
So
All right,
sweet.
that is like my son. I've adopted this man. So there are times he'll call me and I'll call him, and we're just talking about, I want to talk to somebody that's not in the industry about the
Right.
crazy stuff I'm seeing in the industry.
Yeah.
And then he'll give me a perspective on it, and I'll go, thanks, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And then sometimes I have to take that perspective he gave me and go back to the other person and be like, I had a friend say. And then they're like,
yeah.
That's why it helps to have friends in
Useful,
all
yeah.
parts of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that nerd has saved my life many a time.
Same.
I mean, that's what he does, man.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
like Clark Kent, bro.
Wow.
He
Is.
never changes into Superman. He never puts on an outfit, but he is just Clark Kent
Right,
all around
right.
Austin, man. He's just a good dude, and he's always reaching out for his boys like that. But it changed all those relationships. And then when that happened with those changes, one of my friends that I'd known for years came out and told me, yeah, when I was with this girl, I was being abused. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then when he was with his new girlfriend, the most recent one, he, for the first time in his life, was like, hey, I'm not putting up with this. I've been down this road.
Right.
Good
I'm
for
starting
him.
to see some signs that I don't like.
Yeah.
And he stood up for himself. And now she actually went to go get help. And I was like, look at my boy growing.
I love that.
What? We all gonna get through this thing in
Yeah.
therapy. Because
Yes.
I would share stuff with him I learned in therapy. And then, we're all sharing this stuff, like the thing I taught you about your feelings. It's the
Yeah.
weather, man.
Yeah.
You're the
yeah.
planet. That's the weather.
Mhm.
Weather changes. So while I'm
Yeah.
feeling bad and depressed right now, that's a rainstorm that's going to pass. And it's not
For
forever.
sure. Yeah.
So it's one of my favorite sayings, and I teach it to people all the time. I say it to more comedians than anything.
It stuck with me for sure.
Yeah, I keep saying it. I'm going to say it to the day I actually leave.
It's just a good way to explain, because I mean, when emotion's so strong,
Oh,
it
gosh.
feels like you are that emotion.
So
Yeah.
much. And so
Like,
sometimes
yeah.
it's just like those weird sayings that you learn that you go, I'm going to share this with everybody until they all start realizing, hey, that old dude's right, man.
Yeah.
One day they're going to say that. They're not going to be, I'm not going to be alive when they say it. I feel like my friends are just like, I refuse to let him know he was right. He's got an ego. He'll never let me live. You're right. I do have an ego, but I'm right a lot of times,
Right.
regardless of what my 3 ex-wives said.
Right.
I'm right a lot of times.
Well, I'm a people pleaser, so I'm happy to tell you you're right.
Thank you.
So
And I
we're
love you
good.
too. And I'm happy to tell you I love you because of that.
And I'm happy to receive your love.
This is that. See,
This
this
is a
is the
good
show why
relationship.
we click so well, is because Jimmy and I, our first episode was us sitting down, being very open and honest
Yeah.
on our
Love
first
that.
meeting.
It was refreshing. It was
Yeah.
nice. And
Then we decided, hey, we're going to go do this for all of Austin.
Yes.
At first, we were just going to do it for the comedy community, but we're starting to learn that we have fans that aren't comedians that just need mental health.
Yeah.
And most of them are into politics, and those people need the most mental health counseling. You're taking politics too seriously. Let it go.
yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of
so I think we covered everything. I know there's one question, especially when it comes to abuse.
Yeah.
In comedy, have you ever seen a toxic couple? Like, you've seen couples out at shows, and you're like, oh.
like two comedians dating.
I do.
Or-
Well, sometimes it could be
Yeah.
comedians dating, but sometimes we just see people like, Yola told us her story about,
Right.
yeah, I'm with this guy and he wasn't a good guy. And then we'll
Yeah.
see stuff where I've been at shows and I'll be like, who's that? That's my girlfriend. Then I watch them, or that's my boyfriend, and I'm a people watcher.
Yeah.
And I'll watch them and I'll be like,
Oh yeah, I've seen people that I'm just like, they shouldn't be together.
yes.
And like
Yeah.
everyone knows they shouldn't be together, and it's clearly toxic. But
yes.
and I I usually don't say anything.
You
Unless
avoid it
they're
too?
unless they're my friend, and then when I feel like I should say something. But
Okay.
yeah, but there's definitely relationships where you're like, that's
What do
not
we do
good.
in those situations? Should we say something?
That's hard. A lot of the time, the person who is being abused is probably not going to recognize that they are, and they're going to defend their abuser. And so I guarantee you, you're probably not the first one that's told them, like, what is going on here? Like, this doesn't look safe. This doesn't look healthy. It really has to come from within.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, but in my own situation, my parents would come to me all the time, be like, what are you doing? Like, this is not good for you. Like, this is unhealthy. And I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he treats me like a princess. So you guys are, and it would make it worse for me at home too, because he would see that people were trying to help me. He'd be like, you can't see them anymore. You
Mhm.
can't talk to your parents. They're not allowed over here.
Oh boy.
You can't have a relationship with them. Isolation is one of the biggest parts of an abuser's MO. So that can be scary too. If the abuser notices that you're trying to like talk to the other person and be like, get out, do you need help? It can be worse for them at home. So really, like, just if you can discreetly give them resources, you don't even have to be like, I see what's happening. Just be like, hey, I know a place, here you go. That's tough. It really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because as a father, I'm just going to be real. I had a daughter that was with a guy, and I told you I packed a gun in the suitcase because I was going to go get her. And I was like, well, he's got two options during this conversation with me, and all of them involve him being quiet. Because anything outside of you trying to check me, I'm going to air condition your chest with this 9mm. You're getting a window in your chest, brother.
Yeah.
We're going to see what your heart looks like.
And I guarantee you that the person has probably already tried to leave. Like, on average, women try to leave 7 times before they actually leave.
Oh, that's a crazy number.
Yeah. And 2, it depends on what you notice. Like, if you're noticing that there's like physical stuff going on, then it's probably more pressing, and you probably do go up to them and be like, are you okay? You don't even have to be like, I see what's happening, you need to get out. Just like, are you okay? Another stat that scares the ever-living hell out of me, and I won't say it till the day that I die, if you notice, or if someone has told you that they've been strangled by their partner, usually it's going to be a male, right? 750% more likely to die by homicide by that partner after they've been strangled in the relationship. So if anyone ever comes to you and is like, they put a pillow over my face, or they tried to put their arms around me, like, their chances of death shoot up by that partner. So just keeping an eye on these things, right? Like, knowing what the signs are of domestic violence is like the most important.
And dudes do not talk about it.
Nope.
Because my boy would have never came to us, man, and told us about the story.
It's so underreported. Yeah,
because no dude wants to look like I'm weak. And he was a big dude. Like, he's got muscle, but he also refuses. A woman could be coming after him with a knife. He refuses to hit a woman, and there's something in his psyche that tells him he can't do it. But I'm like, if she's coming at you with a knife, I think even Jesus is going to give you a okay to knock her the hell out, but he won't do that. He's like, nope, can't do it. And I'm like, then I start thinking like, dude, I got to move in with this fool. Do we got the Golden Girls in? I got to be his Blanche. I got to be his. It's just me in there watching his abusive girlfriend come by, and then I got to choke slam her through a table like the Dudley Boys. I don't want to do that.
I think leaving is a deeply personal decision. It's not as simple as just like, why are you still there? Why haven't you left yet?
Yeah.
It really isn't.
I've been in relationships where I look back and I go, what was I still there for? And I don't know why.
It rewires your brain. Trauma rewires your brain.
Yeah. It's hard to leave sometimes. Even
it is,
when you know you should.
Yeah, because I remember, man, I can look at relationships now back through the filter of going through therapy and then realizing, oh my God, I didn't know that was a narcissist. I had no idea what a narcissist was. Yeah. I used to think that was just a form of being a lawyer, but I realized I was dating a bunch of lawyers. So, like, oh, there all were a bunch of them in my life. So once you start figuring out the signs, then you start going, oh, okay. How did you take my trauma and make that about you? What do you...
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't focus on me for a few seconds. It's always coming back to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Power and control.
Yeah. So man, it was definitely or the gaslighting, which I didn't even know that was a thing. Some of the stuff
Yeah.
I was embarrassed when I thought I fell for that, and then my friends would be like, "How did you fall for it?" And I remember telling my therapist, she did this magic trick with her finger in her mouth, and I am a sucker. You can shut me up with good sex.
Gives you amnesia.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I forget all the evil stuff you said to me because you just had some really powerful sex with me. Now I'm just sitting over there watching some anime on Netflix talking about, oh, I'm empty in my soul and my testicles.
And your sack, yeah.
She emptied me out. I don't care. Yeah, she's going to be abusive in 30 minutes, but I'm okay. I'm going to go make a sandwich.
Yeah, that's the cycle of abuse.
Yeah, that was
literally.
Yeah, they would just shut.
Yep.
They do this thing. Just like, okay, I went too far.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to have sex with him and shut him up. And they do it, and then I'd be like, yay.
Sex is powerful.
It really is, man.
Yes,
and
it is.
especially if you have sex with me, because I'm potent. So, I mean, I way too many kids. So,
You'll put women into labor.
Like, you can shut me up quick.
Yeah.
Like, be careful, girl. You're going to have a baby you got to raise on your own. Although I raised
Roderick's
all
very
seven.
fertile.
I'm never having any more. If you get pregnant by me now, that kid better be Jesus. Okay. I did everything to make sure they didn't come to this fruition. God wanted that baby. That's Jesus Jr.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm just saying, man, I'm glad we talked about this because I think a lot of the stuff we covered today is stuff that we don't really talk. Nobody talks about men being abused at all.
No.
And we don't, even if we go right now on like on something like Reddit, if you're in a room where there's like, Black people Twitter, one of my favorite rooms, we talked about, every now and then they'll talk about, mental health issues among Black men. And one of the things that brought it up was like, we talked about all these Black men that are entertainers who have been either molested or they were taken advantage of by, more powerful people. And we don't, and it brought up some guys said, man, just think how much counseling they're going to have to go through to deal with that because they couldn't tell anybody and they had to hold that secret for years. And man, one of my favorite conversations ever on Reddit started from that.
Wow.
One guy making that statement, and then it was like 1,000 statements of Black men. Yeah, but also this, then our culture, then even though our women sometimes don't, look at you like you're weak, and then your parents didn't go through it. And I was like, yeah, but every Black parent should have. My dad grew up in horrifying situations, coming up as a kid in the South.
Right.
He walked so I could run. I'm always cognitively aware of that. But also when he got out of the military, he was in Vietnam. He was a provost investigator for the U.S. Army. So people tried to kill him several times. There was no counseling for him.
Right.
No PTSD.
No, they didn't
no
have.
No PTSD. He probably had PTSD and no counseling.
They had nothing yet. There was they take a Tylenol, you'll get over it. That was how they did me when I got out of Desert Storm. And then 25 years later, they go, yeah, we think you got PTSD. And I went, no.
You're like, wow. Really?
Well, yeah. No shit.
I didn't know my wife really was a counselor. The first one told me that. She said, something happened to you after you got blown up. I bet.
Yeah, and you're right. Men statistically seek counseling less than women. And so if we're talking about like communities with people of color, they're going to seek even less than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm out here trying to pioneer on all the fronts.
Yeah.
I'm old and I'm Black, and I'm trying to get everybody into mental health counseling.
That's awesome.
And to use condoms. Okay. Got so many campaigns I'm trying to push now, man.
That's the Lord's work.
I am. I'm doing the Lord's work until I get my Hallmark movie.
Oh,
and then I'm forgetting all you chumps. I'll be too rich, man. I'm hanging out with Lacey Chavert eating off of charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
I ain't got time, y'all.
You made it.
I ain't got time. Get your own mental health. All right, so Meagan, are you going to make a page on? Like, I know you probably want on social media where people could reach out to you for your counseling, or.
So, I don't work that way. My position, I work at a nonprofit, like I said. So I actually don't see people outside. They don't reach out to me. What happens is that if they qualify for services through HCWC, which would be you live, work, or go to school in Hays or Caldwell County, and that you have experienced like SA, so sexual, intimate partner violence, domestic violence, childhood sexual
They'll funnel to you eventually.
Yes, yeah. So you just call the number on the website. What we do is we take your information, we do an intake, and then you get added onto a counseling wait list. And you get 6 months of free counseling with us, and we go from there. So we have wonderful, wonderful counselors at HCWC. And for those of you who have children, we also have a child advocacy center. So we do that too for kiddos. We see everybody.
Wow, amazing.
So, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's my dream job. Yeah.
It's amazing that you're working your dream job now.
Yeah.
You worked really hard to get there. It's really, really cool.
Thank you.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Also, I will say this, and stalking, take that more seriously.
Oh.
Take that more seriously.
Yep.
That's so crazy, some of the stuff I've seen.
Yeah.
I do this weird thing at shows. If there's like female comics on the show with me, Gabby Montemayor caught me doing it one time. We did a show together, and I would stick around till all the women left. Like, I'd just kind of wait and talk to everybody and make sure they got in cars, and I'd watch them leave. And she called me out about it one time. She said, "You are so dad all the time." And I said,
You really are.
She said, she said, "I was noticing you. We did a show together, and then she said, first time I saw you, you weren't really talking to anybody. You just weren't leaving." I said, "Yeah." And she said, then I said, "I did another show with you, and I saw you do it again. Then I noticed when I got in the car, you were like, 'Okay, I'm leaving, y'all.'" She said, "He waited till all the women left and got to their car, and they were all safe." But I said, "Yeah, but I did it for the dudes too, because of my boy." I'd be like, "Gotta watch this fool. He's a twink. He's a little dude. He's a very little dude. I worry about him." So once everybody would leave carefully, I'd be like, "Okay, now I can." Because nobody, look, I'm a big dude. You come. Bring a lunch if you try to come for me, okay? Right. We're going to be there a while. We're going to fight. But I'll be watching people, because I want people to do that for my daughters and my kids when they're out in public. Watch out for each other. But I've been to some shows where I happened to a friend. I walked her to her car. She's right there. She's putting all of her equipment in. I'm thinking she's safe. I go to walk away. This dude was waiting.
Oh, shit.
In the parking lot for her. So when I walked away, he rolled up. And I go, "Whoa." I heard this kind of shock thing, and I turned around and started walking back. And she was like, "Yeah, thanks for," and he just, "Yeah, I really like the show." And I was like, kind of creepy, bro. Why didn't you tell her that inside? Why did you wait? So I kind of walked back till she got in the car. Then she left, and I went, "Hey, man, glad you liked the show. Have a good night." And I walked away. He kind of looked mad at me, but I was like, "Still, you're not going to fight. Bring a lunch." Okay? I'm a big boy, okay? I'm going to walk you down to Whataburger, order a shake, and walk you back here, whooping you the whole way. So don't play with me. I'm a big dude. And I'm angry, okay? So we did that, and it was just like, but it weirded me out that, oh, my God, all the things I do to try to make sure. I don't want to see somebody get SA'd at a show that I was at. I'd never be able to deal with that. Like, what happened to her? Yeah, well, that happened. I dropped my ball. I wasn't paying attention, so.
Wow.
Watch stalking. Stalking's real. And it's crazy. And the internet doesn't help.
Nope.
That's
Definitely
crazy
doesn't.
how available we are to give you our schedules so freely. So.
Location, where you are.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I know we've been in here a while. This is a long episode. I know this was a long episode, but it was a needed episode.
Great.
Thank you for sharing this with us.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on. I feel honored.
Yeah.
I could talk about this all day, so I just love it.
And we made a podcast where that's what we do all day. So please share with your counseling friends and tell them you should check out these two jerks.
I will.
Yeah.
They're the worst, but it's fine.
Yeah, they're trying.
Nah, just kidding.
That one guy, Roderick, don't listen to him. He's insane. He's insane. But he's doing his best with what he's got. All right, so we got to get out of here. But if you would do me a favor, send me all those links.
I surely will.
And then what we'll do is we'll have the producer, the world's greatest producer, Justin. He'll put them down in the comments for us.
Yeah.
And so you guys will have all the links to all this information. And don't be scared to reach out. And you can't say, "Oh, I'm broke. I don't have access to this."
Yeah.
We just found out today you can be super broke and still get counseling, even if it's once every 2 weeks. You can afford it.
Yeah.
I'm super broke and I'm getting counseling.
Yeah. So, man.
Psych meds and all that.
Yeah. And just because someone charges more does not mean they're better.
100%.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yes.
We are human. We make mistakes. We're going to have days in the room with you that aren't the best, but we're here for you, you know.
Not only is that right about counseling, that's right about comedy. I don't charge as much to headline, but that don't mean I'm not going to bring you a show. I'm knocking
That's
babies
true,
out the
too.
womb, bro. Pay me what you owe me. Okay.
That's so true.
Bitch, better have your
I had to
money.
throw that commercial in
Hell
there.
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get out of here before I say something else insane and they take me out here to jacket, one of my love me jackets. Please, if you love the episode, like, comment, subscribe. We need all those things. We're at a point now where we're trying to get a season 2. So we need y'all to share this with everybody. We need you to show us love. Share it with people you hate. Share it with people you love.
We're very
Share it with
needy.
your pastor. We don't care. We need it.
We need
Jimmy's
it.
got a supermodeling career to keep funneling. And I'm trying to get on a Hallmark movie, and this is not working for us.
I'm
if you
very
don't like to
delusional.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Look, man, we got careers. I want you to be a supermodel so I can say, hey, y'all know that black dude on Hallmark movies that looks like the dad on The Fresh Prince? You know his best friend's a supermodel? And I'll be able to go, yes.
Yes.
It worked. They finally believed me. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
Super.
so like,
I think you
comments.
need new glasses.
I do.
Oh, I said,
You're not a bad looking dude, Jimmy.
mm.
And the eyes, man, you got the bluest of eyes, so the eyes look like a window to your soul, and they look
Wow.
like there's kindness behind those eyes.
Oh.
Wow.
See, this is what we need, man. Follow
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, see?
I think we're
I'm your
gonna
hype
fuck.
man, bro.
Bring.
Okay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
get some dating Jimmy. See? I'm hooking everybody up. I stand
I appreciate
undefeated.
that. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. I'm trying to hype up everybody.
I love the hype.
Yeah, that's my job here, man. I know my role in this world
Coach.
is hype up everybody.
Yes.
All right, so that's your homework. Hype up everybody. Find somebody and hype them up
Hell
this
yeah.
week. Unless they're like talking about stalking. Don't hype them up to go
Yeah,
stalk
yeah.
people. We just
Bring
told you
them
that's
back
wrong.
down.
Yeah, you tell them to go get help. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so we're getting out of here. All of our links are going to be at the bottom. Jimmy, there's an Instagram page for the podcast now?
Yep. It is Pain Management Podcast on Instagram. All one thing.
Okay, and then I'm at Coach Silky on Instagram.
And Jimmy.Moynihan on Instagram.
And if you have questions or there are topics that you want us to cover, we've opened up our DMs for that.
Yep.
We thank you for the people who we told personally that are actually sending us questions and
Yeah,
saying, "Hey, can
yeah,
you
for
cover this?
sure.
Could you look into this?" That's how we get guests like this.
Super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So we hope to bring you more of this. And then what is this? The 5th episode?
Is it? I think so.
I think we're up there.
5th, yeah.
We're there. So look,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get a season 2. We're trying
is
to
cool.
blow this thing up. So
Oh,
we
we're
need
gonna-
y'all to share this and do all the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hype up the show.
Woo!
Yeah, that helps me. I need y'all to hype up. I don't want to die alone in San Marcos,
Yes.
having to go see her for counseling and tell her all my secrets.
I'd be like, I can't. I love you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, help! Hype up my show. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's the best way for a new podcast to spread is word of mouth and a friend recommending it to another friend, and
That's
that's
it.
the best way in the
Hey, my
beginning.
CEO said, tell me when the episode's out. So I'm
Absolutely.
You're CEO. I love them already. They don't even know.
She is fantastic.
And-
Oh,
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 let me
Grandpa
stop
Rod.
before she has me in counseling. Like, yeah, I love you, but I want to talk to you about your issues. Oh, you got me again. All right, y'all. Thanks
Cool.
for tuning in for another episode. Just remember, you don't know what anybody's going through this week. So if you get a chance, please choose kindness because everybody's struggling with some battle. They're either going into a storm or coming out of a storm, or they're getting ready for a storm. So, or they're in the midst of the storm. Just choose kindness all the time.